This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. It's that time again for Sport Bash, and this year it's moved from Stamford down to Ketton, to Pit Lane, to the Ketton Sports and Community Centre. Still organised by Dean Headley. It's still very much following a similar theme. Dean, could you describe the day and when it starts and what people will see when?
It's a family fun day. Cricket's a medium that brings people in, but there's lots of activities that you can see on the website, sportbash.co.uk. Inflatables, face painting, cricket simulators, the bowls club is opening, the tennis club's opening here, Crazy Catcher coming, Leicestershire Foxes community setup are coming along, and including in your ticket price, those are all the activities.
So if you buy your ticket in advance, it's really not much at all, is it?
It's £5 off in advance online right up until the day at £10. It's not a bad value day, so the activities run from 12 till 4 o'clock, and then everything stops. We've got UK parachuting jumping in just before the big game. Then the big T20 match starts with some of the superstars coming out. As
previous years, you have an 11 against a local 11.
Yeah, we've changed it from local legends to Lincolnshire and Rutland 11, and so we've one player from each club in the area, which they seem to always enjoy. And then the side that I've got some good players, so we've got Mark Cosgrove coming down as a Leicestershire overseas player, Charlotte Edwards, Craig Newby and All Black, so a little bit of a mix this year.
I know previous years you've raised money for that Matt Hampson Foundation.
We always support the Matt Hampson Foundation, and it's been successful in the past, and with the connection of the two boys at the school who get supported by him, I think it's a bit of a favourite charity in these areas.
So it's still very much got a Stamford School feel to it, even if it's down the road at a different cricket ground this time.
Yes, Stamford Endowed Schools are still a partner of the event. They definitely wanted to be involved, along with the George, the Falcon, BGL sponsoring the Quick Cricket, Stamford Marquee Company, Urban Edge, Durant Cricket. We've got some support from the Stamford Mercury. Yeah, it's very much a local event supported by local people. So we've got Grasmere here and the usual suspects. The Stamford Wine Bar are here, so I'm sure that people will enjoy that.
So that's all this Friday. Gates open at 11:30.
Gates open at 11:30, yeah.
Dean Headley, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. You can find more information on sportbash.co.uk.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
I'm David Wood and I'm chairman of the Rutland Agricultural Society.
And we're looking forward to this Sunday, the 186th Rutland show here at the showground. And, it's as important a part of local life as it's always been, I guess.
Very, very much so, because it's not just for the farmers, although the agriculture is important. It's a terrific opportunity to get a very large proportion of the population of Rutland into the show. Last year we had 12,000 people. I think that's a good strike rate against a population of 35,000.
That's an amazing rate, isn't it? 1 in 3 people actually making their way to the show. I mean, there have been years, obviously, where 1 in 3 people have tried to make their way to the show at the same time, which can cause headaches. It very much depends on the weather, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, but I think last year we got the traffic problem sorted out by putting all the through traffic through the town, so the bypass was almost entirely coming into the show, and we're setting up exactly the same system this year, so hopefully we won't have the problem. We've also improved the entry into the car park as well, so we can take a stream of 2 cars at a time rather than just one.
Take us around the showground if you can. I mean, obviously, the livestock is a big part of it. That's what people will see as they come in, and that's the first actually to get underway.
I think the great thing is that when people come in, first of all, as soon as they come through the gate, they see great big tractors, and some of those are pretty dramatic pieces of machinery. But the vast majority of the public walk down the cattle lines, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. You don't get that in very many shows. They walk straight onto the trade stands and one. With us, they'll walk right the way up the main ring, have a look at the cattle, and then they can work their way around towards the poultry, the sheep and the goats.
There's always attractions in the main ring.
First of all, we're bringing back the Scully trials, which we had 2 years ago, which I think everybody enjoyed, and they'll be out in the ring 3 times during the day. Then a new one for us is the Shetland Pony Grand National, which I think will be very popular indeed. And also in the Rutland ring, we've got a number of other things like the Wye Valley Axeman, who we haven't had before, and also the BMX bikes. having a go.
And people really can make a day of it, from the cattle side of things right the way through to the trade stands, the food stands. I mean, there's a huge amount of stuff here.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the great features is the local larder. We've got over 100 stands. Those are local food producers. It's the third year we've done it, and it's bigger than ever. We think we sorted out the trade stands this year, that people actually be able to find their way up and down them, and we've created more space.
And I suppose it is very much, evolution. It's building on your roots and just maybe fine-tuning things from year to year.
Yeah, I think we've got a good format, a good layout on the new showground, which we're very happy with. We always make small changes. For instance, we're bringing the heavy horses, which are very popular, closer to the main ring for the day. I think the most important thing is to keep the character of the show, so you have actually got a balance between the agriculture, farming, food, as well as trade stands. And I think one of the failures of lots of other places, they become almost just a trade show. Well, you can get that anywhere. We're trying to keep the atmosphere of a true county show, and so far I think that's been successful.
And how much is it for people to get in if they'd like to pay between now and Sunday?
£12.50 and children are free.
Excellent. We shall see you at the Rutland show this Sunday, the Rutland Agricultural Society at the ground, at the showground, just off the Oakham bypass. And David Wood, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio.
Thank you, Rob. Look forward to seeing you.
Rutland Radio.
Thank you, Lydia. Lancashire actually won the toss this morning. They elected to bowl and field, so Leicestershire have already had their batting, their 172 all out, so we've got Lancashire in bat at the moment. I'm here with Neil Johnson, who's Oakham School's Director of Cricket. I mean, it's a massive honour, isn't it, just looking out over this, top teams in the county championship.
To have them come back here and play at Oakham is incredible, and for us we're very proud to have them here, and to show off our school as well. We've got an amazing place, amazing facility, and to show that we can actually hold big games is a massive privilege.
Does it mean preparation-wise that actually you do any more than you would actually for what you do day to day?
We have amazing groundsmen, and they work very, very hard, and obviously they're going to put a little bit more in for the big boys to come here and try and show off exactly what they've got. But we got great groundsmen that work very hard for us, which we're very lucky about. So the kids here are spoiled.
As far as the occasion here today, it does have a very relaxed feel for such a competitive game here for a one-day match.
Isn't it amazing? It's brilliant to watch it. We've got a massive, it's called Doncaster Close, this field. So it's lovely with the school buildings all around and the benches all around and the deck chairs, and it's a lovely field. It's not a test ground, it's not a first-class ground, but it's a lovely country ground. It makes it for lovely cricket, and you hear the claps about and you hear cheering and shouting of kids, and I think it's a lovely thing. And I've been a pro cricketer, so I sort of know what it's like to come to out grounds. If this was an out ground that I'd come to, it would be amazing.
Neil, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio today on this special day for the school.
Absolute pleasure, yeah. Thank you.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm Justin Toews, Deputy CEO of Leicestershire County Cricket Club.
And today, just looking out over Doncaster Close here in Oakham, obviously a very serious competitive game, but it's got a really kind of informal atmosphere in terms of the crowd. That must be quite different, really, to say, Grace Road, and all the big grounds that you play.
Yeah, and I think that's the attraction of playing at an outground. It gives us an opportunity to just try something different and create a different atmosphere. And I mean, what a fantastic setting we've got here on top of first-class facilities.
We're talking, obviously, into with the game underway, but table-wise, you've still got plenty to do at the moment out of the 10 that are in the competition.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a bit of a disappointing little run. We started off fantastically with a win, and then 4 losses on the trot. A couple of them close, a couple of them not. Yeah, it's disappointing. We've just got to keep competing and battling, try and get a couple of wins under our belt.
And some of the squad here. I mean, for instance, I know that one of those who were out there today for you, Mark Cosgrove, is actually playing at Ketton tomorrow in a charity game locally. Is that sort of factored into their cricketing summer? Is the flexibility to do that and actually show off the cricketing talent in a more informal way?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously the primary focus for the players is playing for Leicestershire in first-class games, but we don't mind if players play in other matches. It keeps them fit, keeps them on the ball. And of course, a charity game, doing good work in the community, we'd always support.
And there's people, obviously, in connected with Leicestershire, such as Coach Paul Nixon, who have been here in the past. There always are those links, really, with schools like this and the club, and presumably finding the next big name as well, hopefully.
Yeah, this type of school, I think Stuart Broad went here, and there's a couple of players over on the balcony, former players, so yeah, there's no doubt there'll be more first-class cricketers and probably a couple of internationals come out of schools like this or similar in the next couple of years.
And what sort of combination actually forms that, do you think? I mean, we're looking at great facilities here. Obviously coaching, from say ex-cricket professionals as well, clearly helps.
Yeah, you've answered your own question. So they're the two things. The facilities here are absolutely outstanding, way beyond anything I was used to at school, that is for sure. And they've got 3 or 4 coaches here that are working the professional setup as well. So yeah, they've got every advantage.
Anything else to add about the day here today?
It's just, I'm really, really pleased. It's our first time here for probably a decade. Oakham School have been fantastic. Really pleased with how the ground looks. We've had just short of 1,000 people turn up so far. We need to do this regularly and get the cricket out and about in the county.
Rutland Radio.
Well, gloriously sunny afternoon at the Rutland Water Golf Club here at the end of May, the end of a month of riding round Rutland Water. You must know every pothole, every rabbit nook, and everything about it, really, Giles. Yourself and Catherine having done a circuit of Rutland Water every single day now.
Yeah, well, Catherine's been doing the inner circuit, so she knows more of the rabbit runs and all that sort of stuff. I've been going out on the road, and certainly most of the potholes are well known to me, and the various points of litter dropping as well, sadly. But yeah, we know it very well now. It's been a great experience.
Has this been very much what you imagined it would be when you set out on this?
I'm not sure what we thought it was going to be. We thought it was going to be a bit of hard work for ourselves personally, but it's exceeded our expectations, I think, on many levels. The community spirit that has been engendered as a result of it. You've just seen a load of cars turn up. There have been a load of people already gone out today. Everyone's really got involved, which has been magnificent. There have been some really good friendships made. In fact, a very special friendship seems to be being made with Rob, one of the guys we're doing it for. His son and my daughter seem to be becoming very good friends.
There were 2 main objectives to this, raising the money and doing the distance. How has that gone?
Distance, check. Done that. Personally, I've got some extra miles in the bank, and there are a number of other guys who've done the 1,000 kilometres. Going around every day, yes, and we're very close to the target we set ourselves for money raising, and I have no doubt we'll achieve that as well. So it's ticking the box all the way around, really. It's been great.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Hello, Tilda. This is Rob from Rutland Radio. Your brother did something amazing this week, didn't he? What do you think of his achievement?
Well, I think it's very brave of him to put himself forward to do such a generous thing.
Climbing Snowdon must be quite a difficult challenge for anyone to do.
Yeah, it must be. It's very big, and it's the second biggest mountain in Great Britain, and it's a good achievement, especially for a good cause. I'm 11 years old, and I climbed Snowdon to raise money for turtles.
That's an incredible thing to do. How was actually climbing Snowdon? How long did it take you, do you know?
It took us 3 hours to get up there, and then 2.5 to get down.
And how was it when you got to the top? What was it like?
It was a great view. You could see loads of different mountains.
So you did this to raise money for turtles. So what's happening that you want to raise money for?
Well, they're becoming endangered because of the polluted oceans and the plastic on the beaches.
And this is something you've seen on TV, I guess, through things like Blue Planet.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do something.
Yeah, I just think they're very graceful creatures and that they should deserve to not become extinct.
That's an amazing thing for an 11-year-old to do. I guess when you get back to school next week, you'll be telling everyone what you've been up to.
Yeah.
Who did you do the mountain walk with?
I did it with my mum.
Fab. Well done to both of you, and thanks for sharing that here. Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. The Rutland show. Mel Weaver is the Rutland Division Commissioner. You have your mascots for rainbows and brownies, promoting right across all that you do?
Yeah, they're out trying to get support for girls aged 5 and above, all the way through till retirement age. if not further and beyond. We're looking for adults as well as young girls.
And it is a kind of chicken and egg situation, isn't it? Because the more adults, the more you can actually provide for the children, the more children you can provide for.
That's it, yeah. If we don't have the adults, we can't do the units, and the girls can't join. So the more adult volunteers we have, and young leaders, so anyone from age 14 and above, to help run the units is a benefit for us. And then we need the girls as well to fill those units. So.
And it's as popular as ever, I guess.
It is, yeah, it is. Girl guiding in Rutland is very big. We have multiple events. It is only for girls though, so it's a girls-only environment.
And there's always, the Scouts and...
There is the Scouts, absolutely, and the Cubs, and they're a brilliant organisation, and obviously for boys and for girls they are. Girl Guiding provides just a girl environment so they can just relax and be themselves. Lots of opportunities, lots of challenges.
I guess people can find you online quite easily.
They can, yes, if you just go to girlguiding.org.uk. All the information's on there if they'd like to volunteer or if they'd like to get involved as girls.
Rutland Radio.
Thank you, Steve. Now, people coming to the Rutland County Show today, they're going to expect to see cows and horses and chickens and dogs. You might not expect to see some giant tortoises. Now, Adrian is here. You're the giant tortoise man. You've even got a giant tortoise on your T-shirt.
Yes, I am getting known as a tortoise man, unfortunately, yeah.
So how did you get into looking after giant tortoises?
It's been a lifelong hobby that started when I was about 4. Initially my request was for a dog, but I was found to be allergic to cats and dogs and horses and birds and everything like that, so literally my options were limited to a goldfish or a tortoise.
Tortoise is a little bit more interesting.
I went down the tortoise route, and the rest is history, as they say. It's been a lifelong passion and a hobby that's grown, and it's now become a little bit more of a sort of a rescue sanctuary, but the interest has still been there since I was 4 years old.
So how many tortoises do you have then at your sanctuary?
Gosh, there's currently about 50. Wow. Some of those are my long-term pets, but some of those are ones that people have not been able to look after any longer, and through ill health, death, marriage breakdown, etc., have found themselves needing a good forever home. So that's
where did these originally come from?
The giants here, these are from Mauritius, out in the Indian Ocean. So they're not your typical sort of pet domestic tortoises. They are a special giant breed of these. Less well known than the Galapagos giants, but as big and heavy, and as with all the logistical exercises and problems that the Galapagos ones have.
So just so people can get a picture in their head of how big they are, how much do the big ones? You've got some big ones, you've got some smaller ones.
Yeah, there's a few here today. We've got a range of sizes. The smaller ones you start in about 8 to 9 stone, around your sort of 40, 50, 60 kilos. Going through up to Samson there, he's currently just over 200 kilos. So that equates to about 31 stone. Not mature yet, will carry on growing for the next sort of 15 years or so, by which point you could well be looking at sort of nigh on 300 kilos, getting up for sort of a third of a tonne.
Amazing. Thank you very much for chatting to me.
You're welcome.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Thanks, Steve. I'm with Sam, and tell me about this, the Digger Challenge.
They've basically got 5 balls on cones, just to put into a little bucket, and then the winner gets a £100 Amazon voucher.
Okay, where's the money go to? Because you're raising money for charities.
It goes to charity, which is our 3rd year, which we're really enjoying it. So
this seems like the most fun our second part lady of the show today. And lots of people taking part.
Yeah, we've got a good waiting list, but everyone seems to be enjoying it, so we're encouraging people to come down and have a go.
So is a novice that's going to have a go? But
anyone is over 18.
Have you got people who maybe come from the construction industry?
Yeah, we've got some professionals, but then we've got young lads and girls that have never touched a digger in their life as well.
And what's a good time?
The top time at the minute is 47 seconds.
Flying high. Do you remember?
He won it last year, so he's the reigning champion anyway. So he's looking good to be for a 2nd year in a row, I think.
Rutland Radio.
I'm here with Daisy, who's taking part in the Shetland Pony Grand National today. I've never seen a Shetland Pony Grand National before, so just talk me through what's going to happen.
So first there's going to be 2 heats, which the top 3 from each race will go through to the final, which we will then race again, and that's when we'll be presented rosettes.
Now, Shetland ponies are only little, and you'd think they're quite ploddy and slow and quite placid, but I'm guessing at Grand National they're going to be pretty speedy.
Yeah, they are pretty speedy.
And have you ridden Shetland ponies before?
No, I only started riding them for the Grand National.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm with Jackie Lawrence. Jackie, you've come up to me and you've said what?
Could you please mention the Rutland Air Cadets that are manning the show jumping rings? It's a long, hard day for them. They've been here some of them since 7:30 in the morning. I think I've got some helping in the main arena as well. But if anybody wants to see what the cadets do or have any youngsters that want to join us, we're at the far side of the showground near the one of the show jumping rings, and we've got a recruitment stand. They can find out what we get up to during the year.
If not today, where else?
Well, we're in Penn Street. We meet on a Tuesday and Thursday, 7 till 9:30. More than welcome to come down. We're looking at year 8s and above, so anybody from that year up to 18, more than welcome to come down and find out what we get up to, which is a lot of activities.
The charity started 4 years ago here at the Rutland Show, and we launched on June the 1st. We sort of got into bed, so to speak, with Citizens Advice, so we're under their umbrella. And what we do is we raise funds to pay for specialist advisors based at Citizens Advice, and they give non-medical advice to people living with long-term health conditions in Rutland and the surrounding community. And the really important thing is that every single penny we raise here stays in our community to help these people when they most need it.
OK, can I give you £1 and have a go on the tombola?
Yes. No. OK, you going to take one? Huge responsibility here.
Trish, can you just...
It would be very embarrassing if you don't win anything.
It doesn't matter. Money's going to charity.
Oh, no, you haven't. But we do have 1,600 bottles here that the volunteers have collected over the last couple of weeks. And so I must thank everybody who's donated. And more importantly, everybody here today who's given us their time. Because, of course, it's Volunteers Week this week.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Thank you, David. Here at the Rutland County Show with Sergeant Davidson. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
So you guys, yeah, good, thank you. You guys are doing what today?
We're just here with our stand to basically recruit. Recruit for reservist soldiers, which is our big push at the minute. And that's what we're here for. So obviously there's plenty of people here to see if they want to join the army.
So tell me about your smallest recruit, the dog.
This is Bob. He's an arms explosive search dog. He's coming to the end of his time. He's actually retiring, but it's a good attraction piece. Everyone sees the dog, comes running across to us, and then we can then chat to them and see if they want to join.
So Bob is how old?
Bob's 8 years old, and like I said, he's done his time. He's up for rehome, so he's going to be rehomed very shortly.
And he will have been all over the world doing?
Yeah, very recently come back from Afghanistan, doing the job out there. So we still have dogs and people, soldiers out in Afghanistan at the moment. So yeah, he come back quite recently, and like I said, his time's done, so he's now up for retirement.
Rutland Radio.
2, 1, go!
And we're off. We're here actually at the community ring, Steve, at the moment. So many community stalls from around the area, including Oakenby at C of E School, who are here with Makeys. I'm here with Nathaniel Hammond, who, at the moment, you're following the colours? Is that the idea?
Yeah, all you've got to do is tap the colours on these controllers that are built by a year 5, actually. And you keep going until the time runs out. The time keeps resetting every round, but you get less time each round.
And this whole thing really is just to teach them how electricity works, conduction, ones and zeros, all that kind of thing.
A bit of programming actually. So someone's programmed this game, and then they built this to interact with it using our Makey equipment.
Now, are you old enough to remember when Ataris were like? Well, you're not as old as me, but you know what I mean. Yeah, when actually people used to have computer games at home, and they were very, very much like this.
Yeah, Sega Mega Drive was my first one, and
Sega Mega Drive. Crikey, I was in my 20s when that came out. Yes, I remember. But it's fab stuff, and you have this all at school all the time with different learning projects.
Yeah, so we did it with Year 6s this term, and our code club has been doing it all term. And actually, one Year 5 who comes to code club built this entire thing.
A year 5 put this all together. Doesn't that make you feel small now? It's Oakham C of E. We're here just by the Rutland Rings. So much to see still here at the Rutland Show through the afternoon.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
My name is Laura Hollick and I'm playing Dora Lee.
My name is Glenn Whitmore, I'm playing Franklin Hart Jr.
My name's Tracy Hume and I'm playing Violet.
Hi, I'm Katie Adams and I'll be playing Judy Burnley.
9 to 5 then. It's kind of what Dolly Parton made famous in the film. Is it broadly like that stage show?
Yeah, actually the basis of the musical is actually about what 9 to 5 is about, as in working 9 to 5. And it kind of looks at one office consolidated in particular and the goings-on of that office.
It must be a great treat, apart from anything else, to be able to use the music that people assume you will have, because that's not always the case.
No, it's not always the case, and I think 9 to 5 especially, with that being the opening number, everybody knows that.
And this is all about relationships?
It is all about relationships, especially in the working environment. I think it's particularly current because it's about sexist men dealing with women in an office environment and how the women manage to get the better of the situation.
Gender pay gap as well.
Have to ask, how are their accents coming on? Are you accent coach?
Sometimes, yeah, there has been a word or two where I've been like, but no, overall, everyone, I'm very impressed, I have to say. I think that over here, people are far better at attempting an American accent than Americans are at attempting a British one. So well done, everyone.
Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome.
Can anyone tell me when it's on, how much the tickets are, where to get them from, that kind of thing?
Yes, it's on from June 13th to 16th, 7:30 nightly, and then a matinee on Saturday at 2:30.
Would you say this is a family show?
It's definitely for the over 12s. There are adult themes, be warned, but it's definitely a fun show for anyone over the age of 12. It's on at the Stamford Corn Exchange Theatre. Tickets are available from the box office or from the Stamford Corn Exchange website.
Rutland Radio.
My name is Rachel from Stamford, and my relationship with salad cream has been a very long one, probably reaching 35 years or so.
And you put salad cream on everything, don't you? Apart from breakfast cereal.
Yes, and roast dinners. Salad cream, I think it's one of those that you either love or hate, a bit like Marmite, and I have it with everything, and I've always been known to have it with everything, anything and everything. So for me, the change in name is it should be everything cream.
What about mayonnaise? Does that do it for you?
No. I actually really don't like that. So things like tuna mayonnaise, no, I'd rather have it with salad cream.
Have you ever met anyone else who adds salad cream to as many meals as you do?
I don't think I have, no. I think Lydia likes it, doesn't she?
Yes, I think she does, actually, yes. Hence why I found some in the Rutland Radio fridge.
Yeah, because you never had any in the Rutland Radio fridge until she started. So I think Lydia's a little bit of a fan as well. But no, I don't know anybody that has it on everything like I do.
Do you ever take it out with you in your handbag to a restaurant just to, enhance the meal as you see it?
Do you know what? I don't now, but when I was in my teenage years, I would always ask the restaurant for those, those little packets of it you could get.
The sachets.
That's it, the sachets. I would always ask for those and they would look at me gone out. But more often than not, they did actually have them.
You're a salad cream historian, basically, aren't you?
Well, it's 104 years old. Why are you going to change something that's been around for 104 years?
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Jan McCourt, I'm the owner of Northfield Farm.
Rebecca Treacher, work at Northfield Farm.
And this Sunday is Open Farm Sunday. I mean, it happens all over the country, but there aren't actually that many farms in our area who do actually take part. I presume it's quite an undertaking, really.
Yeah, there's about somewhere between 400 and 500 farms nationally that take part, and this is, I think, our 11th year. And yeah, there's a ridiculous amount of work for something that appears to be so simple for everyone that's visiting. But it's quite positive because it means that we have a deep clean once a year at least. Although we did the Rutland Poppy project just about a month ago, so this year we've done it twice. But yeah, it's a big undertaking.
And tell us about Northfield Farm under your ownership and where it all kind of came from. I mean, presumably it's been a farm for as long as people can remember.
Yeah, there's always been a farming activity here. It was originally part of a very large estate centred on Cold Overton, which in turn was part of a far bigger estate with lands across the country. And where we're standing in the field At the moment, the building across the way was a dairy farm as part of the estate activity, and Northfield itself was where they brought some of the milk to make cheese in what's currently my study and my dining room. We've had stories of what are now regarded as rare breeds at the time, both pigs and cattle, at Northfield. I came here about 25 years ago with a few rare breed cattle, and it's sort of built from there. So we now have on the farm at any time sort of 100 to 120 head of rare and traditional breeds. And then we have a flock of sort of similar, slightly larger numbers after lambing of rare and traditional breed sheep. And then occasionally we have had quite a few pigs in the past, but we're not doing that many of those ourselves, although we have got some for the event this Sunday. So we're looking out on a, worryingly, a field of cattle sitting down, because of course the old wives' tale is that means it's about to rain. And the black ones that you can see are our pedigree Anguses, and the dappled and white ones are mainly our beef shorthorn steers, which we've been finishing. They came from a wildlife trust up in Yorkshire quite some time ago, and we've been just slowly finishing. We add, one of the key things we add is time to seek to produce the best possible product. And then of course we have white parks, which are one of the rarest of the rare breeds, and certainly the oldest of the British rare breeds.
And on Sunday you're leading talks hourly on the half hour?
On Sunday...
Two main talks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One talk will be starting at 11:30, and there'll be one later in the afternoon after everyone's had a bit of lunch.
And we're doing tractor rides for the first time this year, because everyone seems to come. That seems to be the one focus. Everyone comes to the farm is to expect to get on a trailer and risk life and limb being towed around the fields. We have opened up tractors in the past, and we try and show as much of the process as possible. The thing that a lot of people don't realise is that the farming activity and the farming year can't gear itself to one specific date, because of course we're reliant on the seasons, and as anyone, whether they're just walking outside or farming at the other extreme, this has been a particularly difficult beginning to the year. So some years we've been in the timing has been such that we've made silage on the day when people have visited. Other years we're not able to. So the best way is to show off the animals as much as possible and talk to the process.
And what kind of things do people generally ask as they're going around? I mean, people around this area, they're surrounded by farms, but maybe never step on them.
Yeah, I think sadly there's still a big disconnect. I mean, there's a huge disconnect between cities and the countryside, and I think sadly there's still quite a big disconnect between even some villages, let alone towns, and the countryside. I think it's the proximity to a live animal that isn't a domestic pet comes as something of a shock almost, especially where the cattle are concerned because of their size. I think there is the shape and colouring and variation between the different types of animal, particularly the older breeds. We have obviously we have a farm shop here and have had for years and years, and do all our own butchery here. And I think what's very interesting is when you see families whose children have grown up coming to Northfield. I mean, we've got families that are couples who've come before they've had children and have been coming ever since. And so some of the children, not enough unfortunately, because it very much is down to the parents' time and inclination, but some of the children, the families come because of the children, and it's not a sort of saccharine view of isn't this a pretty lamb. It's a real understanding that the children grow up with what goes into producing the meat. You get some children who come for the first time and all they want to do is name everything for some reason, or to know what's going to be killed and what's not. But they're able to, at a young age, they're able to understand those elements very easily. It's as we grew older, if we haven't had it discussed with us, that we seem to find it more difficult. But that link is with them forever, and whether it's the kids who are growing into, in some cases, into teenagers now, that form an association with our dogs, for example, and you've just been lent up against by one of our large dogs. It's that element of education which is pretty much impossible to get anywhere else.
And if you could sum up the day in a few sentences, what will people experience here? It starts at 11, ends at 3 o'clock.
A great, fun family day out on the farm. You will see every aspect of the farm. The farm shop will be open. We'll be cooking our delicious burgers for everyone to have at lunchtime. There will be tractor rides. You'll be able to meet all the newly born calves and lambs this year. And it's a great educational day out, as well as having lots of fun.
And just finally, just talking about Northfield Farm, and obviously, as you say, you sell... It's as good as any noise, isn't it? Just talking about your farm shop, you also sell at Borough Market. For a small producer, you've got quite a foothold.
Yeah. When I started the meat business, I came from a totally different background, and it became evident that to do what I wanted to do and to try and aspire to the quality, if you like, and the time element, we had to take the product elsewhere. And I got a call. It was total chance. I got a call from someone telling me about this place that was beginning to do something in food, Borough Market, which ironically was just over the river and round the corner from one of the various places I'd worked in my previous life. And Borough Market supports everything we do here, in effect, our business at Borough Market. So we in effect do our best to suck money out of London and spend it here. And that's a good thing. And I'm very fortunate that I've got two of my 3 children work in the business. So one of them, my youngest Dominic, runs our business down there, and his elder brother Leo runs the farm on a day-to-day basis, but also since last year has gone down to work with his brother at Borough Market in London. Last year we had the terrorist attack on London Bridge and right through past our site at Borough, and that shut us down for 10 days and really put the business on the brink of disaster. But we've with help from charities down there, with help from the NFU, our insurers, and support from our bank, we've sort of clambered back up. So we're sort of back on. We're still on catch-up versus the effects of last year, but touch wood, by the end of this year we'll be pushing on ahead and doing more. We're looking at investment in holiday cottages. We're looking at putting up a new barn. We're just trying to keep moving the business forward.
And do you see it as putting a little piece of Rutland into London, for instance? We're right on the border here, but do people have connections with here? Do you get a lot of that?
Yeah, I like to think in our own tiny way we're pushing a little bit of Rutland and Leicestershire, because as you say, we're on the border, so part of the farms in Leicestershire, part of the farms in Rutland. We had 20 odd students from the University of Minnesota here who had found us at Borough Market, and in a year and a half in advance had booked to come to the farm just 2 weeks ago. And we spent about 3 hours walking them around, and they're agricultural and veterinary students, and educating them in what we do. And for example, on a very tiny scale, we have a local stick maker who comes every year, and he takes sticks for the forthcoming year from our hedgerows, soaks them, straightens them, dries them, and then makes walking sticks, and we sell them in the shop. And so 2 of those have gone back to Minnesota, and they were so excited, and they thought they might have to put on a limp as they went through customs going back into the States. But and we've done the same. We used to have regular visits from a university in Japan. Our customers at Borough, there's a meaningful number of them that want to check out that what we're saying is true. So over the years, we get visits all the time from people that come up and they stay, and they might stay at anywhere from a local B&B to Hambleton Hall or Stapleford Park. So there is a real connection between the 2 locations, and I think both Melton Mowbray, which obviously is in Leicestershire, and Rutland, the name of Rutland, I think there's a certain romanticism spread between those two names. And if we play a little bit of a role in enhancing that, so much the better.
Rutland Radio.
Yeah, I'm Steve Barnwell. I'm the minister at the Baptist Church in Oakham.
Now, tonight, Thursday night, it's a meeting on how to help the homeless. Churches together and Rutland County Council working together on this. How did it all come about?
Rob, it came about last winter, actually, late 2017 in the lead up to Christmas, and then just after Christmas. You probably remember there was a real cold snap of weather, lots of snow and ice and sub-zero temperatures, and the churches became aware that there were a number of folk around the town who were without a home, they were rough sleeping, and people in our congregations, people from the town generally, were actually quite fearful for their well-being, and we picked up on that conversation.
I do remember, I think there was a homeless man in Leicester who actually passed away due to the cold weather. I know that didn't happen here, but the most shocking thing, I think, is that people probably don't even realise there's anyone sleeping rough in Oakham, for instance. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And that particular winter, the numbers unusually, it has to be said, were higher than we've been used to in previous years, so around about 6. And I think that prompted a lot of us to think, OK, perhaps we need to have a look at this and find out a bit more about what's going on. Now, churches, by their very nature, are very giving. It makes sense that you're working with the council on this as they look after us all. But what do you think can be done, and what do you think the meeting hopes to achieve? I think what we discovered was people from within the churches and without the wider community. I think we discovered there was questions they were asking about who's doing something about this, where do we go to for help and support and guidance, how can we help, what do we do? And we recognised that there was a need to help signpost people, because in fact there are some incredibly hard-working people in the council available to help, but many of us just don't know who they are and where they are. So that was a starting point for us, really. Yeah. And tonight people will be able to find out who these people are and what is actually being done to tackle a problem. I mean, 6 doesn't sound like a massive amount, but if that's someone that you know, that's someone who hasn't got a roof over their head. Yeah, absolutely right. And interestingly, we're now into spring, summertime, temperatures are a lot easier. But nevertheless, the various churches in town continue to receive people knocking on our doors, explaining that they're in a predicament and how can we help. And I think we are, now that we're aware of the problem, we want to get a little bit ahead of the curve. We're actually thinking ahead in terms of next winter, being better prepared. But we also want to inform the community in the town, because some great people out there who want to help, and we just want to give them some information of how to best help, and that's what tonight is all about. So it's Oakham Baptist Church from 7 till round about 8:30, free to go along, and you'd welcome anyone who's listening. Absolutely, yes. Yeah, please come along. It'd be great to meet you.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
It's Rutland Radio. I'm Rob Pisani. We're here at the shores of Rutland Water with Gina Bradbury-Fox, who co-founded the Outdoor Guide, which is a website focused on walking right across the country with Julia Bradbury. And there's a big push in Rutland on focusing exactly what walks can be done, including dog-friendly walks, walks for people with disabilities. Tell us the kind of work that you're doing in Rutland at the moment.
So what we really want to do is put Rutland on the map for its beauty and the walks that are available here. And Julia and I both grew up in this beautiful county, and so we were keen on our website, the Outdoor Guide, to actually put more of Rutland on there. And one of the reasons was because it hasn't been televised on any of the walks that Julia has done and that she's known for, and so under our own steam we've decided to come here and do what we can to promote the area. So, and where we are actually today, in this lovely sunny day, at Barnsdale Hall, we are featuring them as one of the places to stay, and we're sending a drone up over their establishment and the surrounding areas. So that's what we're doing.
So the idea is to make Rutland accessible to walkers, to approach it from a kind of walking perspective, and then, well, what else can you do? Where can you stay? Where can you go whilst you're walking, whilst you're here enjoying the county?
Exactly. So, for instance, if somebody was to put in a search, in Google search, a walk in Rutland, it would come up, hopefully, theoretically, according to our SEO guru, we would come up fairly high up on the Google search terms, and then we have a choice of all the different walks that are here, and in particular, I mean, this one at the moment is the North Shore, and then when you find the North Shore of walk, it would have various establishments to stay in. We're not a booking site, so we're not pushing anybody to pay and book from our site. It's really inspiration. So, for instance, we would offer a hotel, which is obviously Barnsdale Hall in this instance. We have In the Sticks, which is a glamping site if somebody wants to glamp. Amazing pods, which we filmed. Barnsdale Lodge, which have eco-friendly lodges. Hambleton Hall, which is obviously, 5-star luxury. Finch's Arms, which is a nice pub, and it's just giving a flavour of what is here for somebody that is looking for a walk, so they don't then have to try and think, well, where do I stay and where do I go and have a pint, or where's dog friendly. We're trying to put all of that on the walk page, which they've come to for that information, rather than go to a destination and then say, now where can we walk? And so we're coming at it from the walking perspective rather than the destination in the first instance.
And the RSPCA you're working with for dog-friendly walks. Tell us how that works specifically. As a dog-friendly walk, is it, say, shorter and flatter than it would be for, a more advanced walk, say?
Yes, it is. The thing with dog-friendly are people, that are passionate, to take their dogs out. What tends to happen is a lot of places they go and they can take their dog so far, and then they have to put their dog in the car because they can't take it to the next bit. And what the RSPCA are very keen to do in their Dogs Die in Hot Cars campaign is to show to people you can do some amazing things with your dog, and then you can go to this pub or stay in this hotel, or and so what they've asked us to do is source walks all around the country, again for inspiration, that they can direct people to give people ideas of where is safe to take their dog, enjoy their dog, also enjoy a day out, but also not have to leave them in the car, because there are certain places, as I said, you can take them outside, but then once they want for the walk, but then once they want to go and have a pint or they want to go and stay somewhere, then it's not dog friendly. So what do you do with your pooch? It's that's the trouble. So we're coming at it again from giving them information to help make their decisions of where they're going to walk.
And I suppose actually from the same point of view, if you're working with someone who has a disability, who finds it difficult to walk long distances, or maybe they're in a wheelchair, again, you're looking at everything fitting together.
Yes, again, same principle again, Rob. We have a writer that works for us. She runs the Access, the Outdoor Guide, or Access TOG, which is our mobility side of things. She has got a degenerative bone disease. She was a very, very what was I going to say? She loved walking the fells. She was an avid walker and got a degenerative bone disease. She was a school teacher, and she, after a period of real downtime, we met her when she was going to do the coast to coast, and she wanted to do the coast to coast in wheels, on her wheels. So we have founded a section on the website called Wheel Friendly Walks that is run by Debbie North. She's just won an award in Yorkshire, the Countryside Hero Award, for what she does, and really because she is our eyes, ears and legs and wheels for everything that we do on the Outdoor Guide. So it's really good that she can give a very honest opinion about what is disabled friendly and what isn't, and if she can manage it, then we know that a lot of other people can. And again, we put, the toilets where you can park. I mean, both the north and south shore of Rutland Water is fantastic for people in buggies, bicycles, but also in a wheelchair. And Debbie likens her wheels to how I am with shoes, in that every day she decides what sort of wheels she's going to get into, whereas I decide what pair of shoes I'm going to wear, and that's how she sort of likens her life. But she's an inspiration, and so I am facilitating with her what she wants to do and to follow her dream and continue it.
And if people are visiting your website, is it a county by county breakdown of the country? Is that what you've put together?
Yes, it's everywhere. You can put your postcode in and then the nearest walks will come up. The biggest problem I have is time to facilitate all the walks. I mean, originally, the reason why Julia and I wanted to do it originally was to facilitate the inquiries that we got once Julia was on television and the walks were on television, because her inbox, or back in the day it was her mailbag, was inundated with where was that walk, where did you stay, what were those trousers you were wearing, what boots do you wear. And we wanted to have a portal of information where people could find all that out free. We're not a subscription website. It's so that people can find it and then write in and ask. We've got bloggers, all sorts. That it's a real community portal.
And walking has always been around. Obviously, people have always gone for walks, but it seems to have been not necessarily formalised, but now there's so much talk of it, and it's created a whole industry, really, which yourself and Julia have been at the forefront of.
Well, I think I have to give Julia the credit for that, to be honest. I think her 4 Little Wainwrights walks that she did 12 years ago were absolutely... They catapulted her into an area that we perhaps never thought of when she started as a nipper, as the Hollywood correspondent in LA interviewing John Travolta. I mean, who would have known that from that she would have ended up being the face of the outdoors, which is really where she's gone to. But I think, it is absolutely proven that outdoors and walking is so beneficial. It's so good for your mental health. It's good for your well-being. Everything about it is magical, and it costs nothing to go out and walk, whether you're in a city, whether you're in the countryside, to just put on a pair of trainers or a pair of walking boots. You don't have a bicycle, you don't have to find loads and loads of equipment. Anybody can do it, and it's so good for you. And I think that's what we're trying to really spread, and also we're trying to make it easy for people, so that when somebody says, I want to go for a walk, we make it easy for them. We want what we're trying to build, and whether we do it or not, I've no idea, is we want to be the number one portal of information for people that want to walk. Families, disabled people, dog-friendly people, just anybody that wants to get out there. We want the Outdoor Guide to be the place to go for that information.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
I'm Gemma Ricks.
And Lauren Woodwest.
And now you both are taking on a pretty major challenge for Minchridge, aren't you?
Hopefully, we are in December attempting to row 3,000 miles across the Atlantic.
Oh my gosh, you picked the coldest month as well to row. Is it the coldest across the Atlantic?
Well, it's not, because we start in the Canary Islands and we end up in Antigua, so at that time of year it's the perfect time. So we start in sun and hopefully end in sun.
Fingers crossed for you then. So why did you want to do it?
It was Gemma's idea, if truth be told. Just seemed like neither of us are rowers or come from a rowing background, so just seemed like kind of a fantastic challenge. We normally try something a bit crazy together every year, and this for some reason appeared as the next big one to try, and just kind of mentally and physically is going to really push us and be really exciting and a big achievement.
So what other things have you done then, if you like doing crazy challenges?
We've done a couple of marathons together and an Ironman. Lauren is definitely the more athletic and endurance prone one out of the two of us.
Yeah, so I do a lot of kind of long distance running, endurance racing, triathlon, that kind of thing.
I can't believe you're taking on the Atlantic and you're not rowers. So how much time and practice have you had to put into this?
So there's a minimum requirement for the race, the amount of hours, obviously safety-wise, that you have to spend on the water. We obviously want to go above and beyond that just to be as prepared as we possibly can be. It's really as many hours as you can possibly put in, kind of in different conditions, different weather, rowing at night, getting used to it.
And are you having people sponsor you? Are you raising money?
Yeah, we are. We're raising money for the Minchard Foundation, Fair Share and Cancer Research. We are getting sponsors on board at the moment for mainly equipment, food and various other things. But yeah, we've still got 6 months, so it's all coming together nicely, really.
So where can people donate?
The best place to have a look is through our website. It'd be really great if people could go and have a look there. It's www.whaleofatime.co.uk. That's our team name, Whale of a Time. Hopefully a little bit of fun. But yeah, it shows what we're all about and what we're up to with our campaign.
How long is it going to take you as well to get across?
Well, the record for a female pair is 50 days at the moment. So it's been done 7 times before, and then a couple of failed attempts. So we're estimating anything between 50 and 90 days. Obviously, we want to get there as quickly as we can. Although I'd love to spend even more time with you. But yeah, anything between that.
We really hope that kind of aiming to break the world record will bring that amazing added attention for our charities and raise us as much money as possible.
How does it work then? Because if you're doing 50 days, do you have to stop? How do you eat? How do you sleep?
Exactly what my mum said. Is there a service station? So yeah, we take all our food with us, all our provisions, we make all our water through our water maker, so to desalinate it and everything like that. We're actually currently making our food. We're making it all out of surplus and out of date food. Basically to try and show that there is a shelf life at the end of a shelf life. Basically, that's not the end, it's what we're told, but it's absolutely fine. So that's about 600 meals.
Yeah, that's in line with because one of our other charities that we mentioned, Fair Share, that's through our campaign. We're kind of supporting what they do to recognise the problems with food waste and poverty.
And what does your boat look like? Is it what sort of boat is it?
So it is an R15. Our boat makers are in Essex. Essentially, it's a 22-foot
ocean rowing boat. So to anyone that's not familiar with ocean rowing boats, it effectively looks like a big white life raft. They have the ability to self-right because, in big waves they'll often roll over. In huge storms you can be just locked in the cabins with the boat self-righting. So probably some pretty sketchy moments out there, but we trust enough in the boat that it will get us safely across to the other side.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Laura Sugar. I'm in para athletics and do the 100 and 200 metres.
Ambassador for Minchridge.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do as an ambassador?
So there's a few different roles, but kind of our main aim is going into schools and running programmes, whether that's mentoring, assemblies, kind of master classes in our sport, and just getting kids and young people involved in sport and getting inspired by sport and getting active and learning from us and learning about our stories and our journeys and how they could get there too.
So can you tell me a bit more about your sport and what you do?
Yes, so I used to be a hockey player. I used to play for Wales, but I watched London 2012 and realised that my foot condition, I have a club foot, made me eligible for Paralympics. So I kind of jumped at that opportunity, and so I started really late when I was about 21 and just got chucked in the deep end, and I knew I was quite fast anyway and kind of just got chucked in the team for sprinting. Went to Rio and came fifth in both the 100 and the 200 metre T44, so I run against anyone with one leg affected, so similar conditions to myself, or for blades, amputees, so hopefully going towards Tokyo.
Wow, so you've got a lot to share then with Rio and getting children inspired into sport.
Yeah, definitely. I learned a lot from Rio. It's a multi-sport event. I was really terrified and nervous. Yeah, I managed to perform and managed to get PBs and up my ranking. So I have a lot of experience. I've had loads of ups and downs, kind of injuries before then. So highs and lows. So it's nice to share kind of my journey with youngsters, and there's stuff that they can relate to all the time, whether it's within sport or within whatever they want to be successful in.
Hi, I'm Georgina Roberts and I shoot Olympic trap. So there's 5 stands effectively, and in front of every stand there is 3 traps, and so there's a 45-degree angle from where you are. So the target comes out and can go at any height or angle, and you just have to react to wherever it's going and shoot it.
Quick reactions and precision then?
Yes, definitely.
So, are there many females in this sport?
Yeah, there are quite a few. Unfortunately, there's not enough, so there's quite a few lady shooting groups around now which are trying to persuade more women to join in, because we are trying to make it a more equal sport. So we've gone from shooting 75 targets to shooting 125. So now we're on the same kind of competition level as men, which is really, really a big step for us, because unfortunately, like, the shooting disciplines are slowly like disappearing from the Olympic Games, and unfortunately, it's not looking like we're going to make it into the Commonwealth Games at Birmingham. So it's really, really important for women to join in and beat the stereotype that shooting is for men, because it's definitely not.
So what would you say to any girls that might be wanting to get into sport with your ambassador role?
You just haven't got to worry about it. You've just got to go and enjoy it, and it doesn't matter if you're a girly girl or if you're a tomboy. So I like having long nails and doing my hair and my makeup, and you just got to beat the stereotype and do whatever you want to do.
I'm Christian Callahan and I do pistol shooting. In the UK, it's definitely, very small, definitely a minority sport, and the smallest of the sort of Olympic shooting disciplines that there are, which is a shame. And I think it should be the most accessible of the three, I'd say, because the equipment costs are the least. They're not insignificant, but of the three disciplines, they're definitely the least. And I think definitely encourage more people to get into it.
And why do you think being an ambassador for Mintridge is important?
I think it's important for the sport in terms of bringing it to a new audience who haven't heard about it, haven't seen it before. Expanding the sport within the UK. I think it's important for Mintridge as well, because it's diversity of athletes that they've got. They can bring something new to the table, something people haven't seen before, which is win-win for everybody, really.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Good afternoon, it's Rutland Radio. I'm Lydia and I'm joined by Georgina Stewart and Debs Tucker from Dove Cottage Day Hospice. So first of all, ladies, thank you very much for coming in today. And can you tell me a little bit about the hospice?
We've been in Rutland for a year and a half now. But we were set up originally in Melton, and the hospice has been in Melton for over 20 years now.
Yeah, 22. This December. So,
and then they spotted a sort of hole in the market in Rutland, that there wasn't a day hospice in Rutland, so people who were ill had to travel a long way. And obviously, when you're not feeling great, travelling to the other side of Leicester is not always an ideal situation. We have guests in on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the moment. They come in and it's a daycare hospice. So they come in and the aim is to let them have a wonderful day. And we have a whole team of wonderful volunteers who we rely on heavily and who are brilliant, and all bring in their own little bits and bobs. Some love craft, for example, so they do painting and they do sewing and they do make things. We have other volunteers who come and cook us a wonderful 3-course lunch every day, so everybody sits down at lunchtime and eats together. And then normally in the afternoon, often there's a game of Scrabble going on, and there's lots of hilarity and lots of rude words and cheating, I think, because there are always lots of laughing going on. So everyone has a super day.
So you offer some really lovely things for the people to do, and you do great work. And do you need any more volunteers to help you carry on this great work that you do?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think Debs is desperate, aren't you?
Well, we're always looking for volunteers, because you can never... We're always getting more guests in. And we also offer driving, so some people can get themselves in, some people can't. So we need volunteer drivers, which is normally about sort of 9:30 to 10, and then they go home again about 3:30ish. So if anybody can do those slots, that would be wonderful. If anybody can bring anything new to the table, that's wonderful. Lots of people come in with different ideas. So yes, volunteers are always welcome.
And aside from the hospice itself, you do events, and you've got a big one coming up in October.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we've got the Lantern Walk, so first of its type, I think. We've never done anything in Oakham of this sort.
Planned it so that it's in half term, and that it's at the time when it's just the sort of daylight hours are changing. So it's going to be about dusk, so not pitch dark. So get people to the castle about sort of 4:30ish to set up, to register, get their lanterns, and set off about 6 o'clock. And the route is going to be about between 3 miles and 4 miles.
Yeah.
And we've walked it all, and you can walk the whole route with a pushchair or a wheelchair. So it's open to everybody.
Before you set off on your walk, we'd like to have possibly a compere or a magician walking around, looking, I don't know, doing their tricks and just getting the crowd started, I suppose. So, or if anybody has any other ideas or would like to help support Dove Cottage, it would be really grateful if anyone would like to just message Debs. I think she's probably the easiest person to get hold of. So if you have any ideas, please email probably rutland@dovecottage.org.
And with the walk, so people are raising money for Dove Cottage with their walk. Is there an upfront fee to take part in the event?
Yes, so if there's an early bird fee, which is available till the end of August, and that's £10 for adults and £4 for children. And then we'll encourage them to get sponsorship to do the walk, which would be great as well. And then it's after the 30th of August, it just goes up to £12 for adults and £5 for children to encourage people to commit.
Do they have to wear anything specific, or do they have T-shirts, or is it just wear what you want and be comfortable?
Yeah, wear what you want, probably dress for the weather. Who knows what it's going to be like in October. Hopefully nice weather.
But everyone will be given a lantern.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
they'll walk with the lantern, and as the light goes, their little lanterns will...
Oh, what sort of
it'll be
lanterns are
pretty.
they?
They're like Chinese sort, but with like you have batteries in the bottom, so they've got a little LED light and just like a little handle that you can hold on to. So hopefully it'll look quite nice, and they're all different colours. So yeah, we can light the streets of Oakham with our little lanterns.
Oh, it sounds lovely. And it's a really lovely way to get people to really notice Dove Cottage Hospice as well. They'll see a rainbow of lanterns walking around Oakham.
Yes.
And they'll think, oh, what's that going on? And
Yes.
it'll be Dove Cottage.
Absolutely, because we are still, relatively new. And so all the time we're trying to sort of raise awareness of Dove Cottage, that we do exist, either from volunteers' perspective or guest perspective. People can, if they feel that it might be a place that would suit them, anybody can give us a ring. People can self-refer. If people care for somebody and they feel that they would benefit from it, they can refer. So it's just to get to know that we're there, and they're offering a service for anybody who feels they might need it.
So where do people need to go if they want to take part in the event in October, the Lantern Walk?
If they just visit our website, from the 5th of July, the booking form will be live. From the 5th of July is the time to get online and make sure you book your place before it sells out.
Rutland Radio.
So I'm down at Oakham Library with Oakham in Bloom, Chris Morton. You're here helping set some bits and bobs up. You've got flowers all over the place.
No, chaos, isn't it? It's chaos. Well, it appears to be chaos. As you can see, we've got lots of cages with all the different varieties of plants, begonias, gladiolus. It's unreal. And we're all going to work very, very hard so that hopefully by lunchtime we'll have finished and we can go to the show.
Lovely. Yes,
until
the
then,
County
yes,
Fair.
absolutely. It's a shame it clashes like this, but early June, end of May is get rid of all your old planters, all your winter planting, and start for spring, because these ought to generate now and bloom so that when the judges come it's looking absolutely perfect, because that's what we're after at the end of the day, isn't it? A nice display. It's so important to Oakham to bring in the tourists and the people that get married at the registry office always have the picture taken in front behind a peacock to get that beautiful tail in their wedding pictures. It's so nice, and Oakham should be very, very proud of everything that Oakham in Bloom does for the town.
Oakham in Bloom always does well in the In Bloom competitions as well.
Well, yes, we're on silver gilt at the moment. 8 points short of a gold last year, which, can you believe that? Hey,
after all the roadworks,
blooming
well.
roadworks. No,
I thought it was ever
it's
so clever.
incredible. You'd have thought they'd close their eyes to 8 points, wouldn't you? But we worked really, really hard last year. But we work really, really hard every year. And there's 16 of us here this morning. Somebody's got their niece, bloomers. We're all bloomers. One bloomer's brought a niece along, so she's going to get starting early and getting green fingers already, which is nice. It's
So
nice
what's
to see.
your theme this year?
Our theme, we're going on the 100 years thing, of course, but rather than do the red and the poppies, we've gone for the white for peace. And so we like to accentuate the white aspect and the peaceful aspect. At the end of any war, there's always peace. Wait until you see the shop windows and you'll see what I mean by peace. Last year, if you saw the shop windows, they all responded with their displays of safety helmets and flowers and road cones and things for the roadworks theme. And I don't doubt that this year they'll go along with the peace message as well, which will be nice. And we've got the brownies and schools, hopefully, helping to prepare whatever we've got in line. Yeah, I nearly let it out then, but I'm not going to.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Thank you, Rob. I'm currently in the middle of Rutland Water, just sailing along on a boat with Siggy, who is a member of Rutland Sailing Club. You've got your open day today, so what sort of boats can people go out on?
Well, people can go out on sailability boats for the disabled. They can go out on single-handed boats, which are for one sailor with one sail. And they can go out on double-handed boats, which have two sails, a jib and a mainsail. And they can go out on bigger boats, which are beyond dinghies, called Formula Ones.
So we've got a bit of a tilt on, getting up some speed.
Would you like some more?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah, you mean it. So anyway, that's probably about as much tilt as it doesn't. It's not nice when you're on the downward side. Yeah, put your feet on there so you don't get wet.
So why do you love sailing?
Well, it's great mental health exercise. It's very difficult to take your worries with you when you're out on the water because you have to concentrate. It's great because Rutland Water is a very beautiful place to be, and it's exercise in terms of physical exercise. It's also a great thing mentally because there's so many factors. You've got the trim of the sails, the trim of the boat, you've got the waves to deal with, and there's something when you're sailing that you can do with every element. So there's always something that you can be improving on, something to keep you occupied, and it's just peaceful. It can be as exhilarating as you want it to be depending on the wind. It's just a very, very nice occupation in a very lovely place.
Now, there's not too much wind today, so for those who are a bit maybe nervous about getting on the water, it can be quite gentle for them.
Yes. I mean, today is a perfect day because the wind speed is approximately 5 or 6 miles an hour, which is wonderful. You know, it's just nice and gentle. You can possibly hear the water just lapping away. So today is ideal conditions. But for those who are a bit nervous, a bit unsure, today is the perfect day. Although it's not very sunny, but never mind.
And you're here until 4 o'clock today?
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. So yesterday afternoon, looking out over a very sunny Peterborough Cathedral. It's 900 years since the cathedral was finished, and 900 fairies it was hoped would be here today. I'm here with Carol Hughes from the Stamford Charity Anna's Hope. Now, when was it that you actually had the fairy world record?
It was some 4 years ago now. Yeah, 4 years ago. I can hardly believe it. Seems like yesterday. But it was taken off us by 69 fairies about 3 years ago now. And Anna loved fairies, and we just thought, it would be really special to do it, in conjunction with the Peterborough 900 celebrations. I abseiled down the cathedral 2 weeks ago, not once but twice, as you know, Rob.
As the GoPro didn't record the first time.
That's correct, yeah. And it was really nice. The Dean invited us into the service last Sunday, and the charity and ourselves were blessed, which was really, very special. I think Anna would feel really, really proud today of just having so many new friends here. So many people all dressed in fairies. Our charity's logo, and she absolutely loved fairies. And there've just been some fantastic costumes. I'm sure you'll agree.
Absolutely, and we can still hear the fun day going on in the background. Now, what was the record? What is the current Guinness World Record?
The current record is 855 fairies, and we've certainly had lots and lots here today. Obviously, we think we've got the new record and like to celebrate that, but we won't officially know that until Guinness have actually officially adjudicated it, and every dot has been dotted and every T's been crossed. So yes, we think we've got it, and I was asked, how do I feel today? Well, I feel absolutely elated, and it's just been one very, very special spiritual day here, having it here today. And I can't thank everybody so much for wanting to take part. As I say, the costumes are fantastic, and everybody's had so much fun, and that's the important part about it.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. If you're watching Springwatch on the telly at the moment, Michaela Strachan is part of it, and she joins us this morning to talk about fighting to save New Zealand's kiwi bird. Why does that matter to us, firstly, Michaela? I mean, in the broadest sense.
I think any animal that's struggling and needs help should matter to all of us. I don't think we think about just things in our back garden anymore. I think we think about worldwide. And what I love about Saving the Kiwi is it's a project that's working. And I think as humans, we tend to only react when there's a crisis. And usually when things get to crisis point, it's too late. Whereas the project to save the kiwi in New Zealand is before it gets to crisis point. And it has made a difference, and it's going to make even more of a difference. And in New Zealand, they've got this ambitious project to try and make New Zealand predator-free by 2050. And they've already got a lot of predator-free islands where they're putting kiwi, and they're doing really well. And if you can save an iconic animal like the kiwi, and let's be honest, it is an iconic animal, it's unique, it's quirky, then you're saving so many other species as well. And so I think we should all be aware of any animal. As I say, it doesn't matter whether it's New Zealand, whether it's Rutland, whether it's Africa. We should care about everything.
And what sort of predators are they facing? Presumably it's everything from human intervention to just how nature actually levels itself, you might say.
Well, the biggest problem is, a kiwi is a flightless bird, so it's very vulnerable to predators. And before man arrived in New Zealand, there weren't really any predators. There weren't even any mammals. The only mammal was a bat. And so man brought with him mammals, predators. And the main ones for the kiwi are possums, stoats, rats, dogs and cats. And any of those can, wipe out so many kiwi. And so that's the answer, to get New Zealand back to what it was before man arrived. And as I say, they're successfully doing it on these islands.
And what can people do here to help? Is there some way that they can help?
There is. I mean, I think awareness is so important for any of these sort of things. But you can go to Save the Kiwi, just go on the internet and search Save the Kiwi, and a lot of information will come up. It's part of Old Moot's campaign, and they want everyone to sign up to the mission to save the kiwi, and they will donate 20p for everyone who pledges their support. And if you go to Save the Kiwi, you'll also find the video that we did in New Zealand called A Forgotten World, which sort of explains the problem and looks at what they're doing to help save the bird.
Now, we last met at Rutland Water when you were filming at the Osprey project, the amazing success that's been there for now over 20 years. But I suppose in a way we shouldn't be surprised to be talking about a bird that needs saving miles away when you think of the bird fair at Rutland Water, when a lot of people that we see who present with you appear on that weekend, actually all striving to save wildlife in international projects.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, there's so much wildlife that needs saving. And I think when you think of birds, you think, sometimes we take so many birds for granted. And I think the perfect example of that is a passenger pigeon. I mean, do you know the story of a passenger pigeon?
No, please tell me.
So they had a population of 5 billion. I mean, it was the most abundant species of bird in North America at one stage. And it did pretty well for 20,000 years until the 19th century. And then Europeans started hunting it on an industrial scale for cheap meat. And the last one was seen in the wild in 1901. And I think from a bird that went from 5 billion to nothing in a century should wake people up. Yeah, I mean, so I think it just, the point is, don't take any wildlife for granted. You know, just because there seems like a lot of them, we have to look after all our wildlife. Because let's face it, I mean, most wildlife numbers have gone down.
Now, I was watching you and Chris on Spring Watch earlier this week. You've been following these baby blackbirds. Now, we had a blackbird that we took in, actually, when I was little, and we had it in a cage, and then we released it when the time was right, and it flew freely. But we, at the moment, we've got a bird box in our garden with blue tits, and we've been hearing these baby blue tits tweeting away. It's almost been like, you know, our little version of Spring Watch. And we've got birds of prey that hunt very nearby, and we've seen a couple of these babies that haven't quite made it. And it really felt the same kind of stomach-turning feeling that when I was watching what happened to one of those blackbirds earlier this week for the reserve where you're doing Spring Watch as well.
I know. I mean, I was the same. I was heartbroken to see that little chick taken by the little owl. But this happens all the time in spring. It's going on all around us, and that is how the world works. You know, it's the circle of life. I know that sounds a bit corny, but the only reason we're seeing it is because we've got those cameras on it. The only reason you saw it is because you've got a nest box in your garden. But you can't demonise the predator. The predator also has young to feed, and that's why a bird like a blackbird has 4 chicks. Hopefully one of them will survive. I mean, you take rabbits, I think about 1% of baby rabbits, of little bunnies, survive to adulthood. But they have a lot of them, and that's why.
I never knew that. I learnt so much just chatting to you over the last 5 minutes. It's been lovely to catch up with you today. But really, you want people to think particularly today about the kiwi in New Zealand and the success, I suppose, that actually that conservation project is having.
As I say, that's why I'm so excited about it, because it is making a difference, and they're doing it at the right time in New Zealand. Can you imagine New Zealand without a kiwi? People are called kiwis, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
And as I say, if you can't save an iconic animal like that, then there's not very much hope for anything else.
Kylie Strachan, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. We'll continue to see you on TV. Can we tempt you back to Rutland very soon at all?
You know how much I love osprey.
Yes, I do.
Do you know, when we had them on Spring Watch, you know, I was finding them quite handsome. It was a bit of a worry. So, yes, I'd love to come back to Rutland and see the osprey.
Rutland Radio.
Malcolm Sargent School.
Hello, it's Rob from Rutland Radio.
Hello, Rob.
I wonder if I can speak to Mrs. Sturgis, please.
Let me see if I can locate her. Just one moment, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Sarah Sturgis speaking.
Hello, Mrs. Sturgis. This is Rob from Rutland Radio.
Hello.
You like your job, don't you? You really love your job.
Yes, I do.
And you give a lot to a lot of people, I hear.
Yes.
Well, we've got this feature on Rutland Radio on a Friday morning called Hero of the Week, and we received this nomination. Let's hear from Elaine talking about her granddaughter and siblings about the sudden loss of their dad earlier this year.
That's right, yeah. Little Maisie, who I've mentioned in the contact that I had with you, she's 6, and her brother's 11 and her sister's 3. Maisie struggled for quite a long time at school, but that was her only routine, I suppose, if you like, because obviously everything's thrown up in the air. But Mrs. Sturgis has really gone above and beyond. Her patience is amazing. She's involved the family, and she chats to her younger sister outside school, and you can see it's a vocation, not just a job.
And Maisie now, she's getting there.
She's coming to terms with it, and she chats about her dad. You could see before she just shut down and blocked everything. She wouldn't even talk about him. But now she just chats about it. You know, Daddy used to do this, and when Daddy said to me that. Mrs. Sturgis has made a mountain of difference. I mean, she had family around her, obviously, all the time, but at school it was different. But, yeah, she's made a big difference.
How do you feel hearing that?
Quite emotional.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of people very emotional thinking of that, particularly as we head towards Father's Day on Sunday. And
yes,
through what you've done, particularly with Maisie, she's able really to accept things a bit and actually remember her dad really fondly and talk about him.
Well, I mean, that's an area that I've really been working on with Maisie, and she's a gorgeous, gorgeous little girl, and it makes a big difference when you've got lovely families and children to support, and to hear that back just kind of keeps you going that bit more. I'm not really sure what to say.
Well, Hero of the Week is just about recognising people who maybe aren't necessarily expecting it. It could be something massive, it could be something really small, but something that makes a real difference to someone else. And that sounds like it's perfect recognition for you, really.
Oh, thank you. I think people will be shocked to see how silent I am, because I do talk quite a lot.
And how's Class 5 doing? You doing any fun stuff at the moment?
They're good, they're fun, they're a lovely, well, all the children here at Malcolm Sargent are brilliant, and I've been here just over a year, and I absolutely love working here with all the children and the staff. It's a great place to be.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
Right, I'm with Jackie Darlington from Carers UK, and this week it's Carers Week. And Jackie is going around to different surgeries this week with some information and support, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Carers Week is a time that we start looking at what carers' needs are and how we can best support them. I'm a volunteer with Carers UK. The topic is helping carers to get healthy and connected. The side about getting healthy is that we never ever look at ourselves. We always look at the person we're caring for. We put their health first, and we think, oh, I'll sort myself out a bit later, and then you never do. And the other side of the topic and the aim is to get connected, because carers were feeling quite isolated. They still are feeling quite isolated. And going back to when I was on GMTV, we were talking about the Joe Cox loneliness campaign, and it came out that so many carers were feeling lonely in the environment that they're in and in their caring role. So going back to being healthy, which is what I'm doing at the moment, is just going around to all the surgeries, just sitting patiently waiting for people to come and talk to me. And it's amazing how many people do come and talk to me, but also just look across and see what you're doing, and just take in a little bit at a time, because it's a bit daunting coming to terms of being a carer.
So yes, you're going to different surgeries and also encouraging carers to have a carer's health check. So what are the checks? Are they quick, easy, simple?
They're very easy. They're mainly depending on your health. I say they're easy because it depends on your health, is slightly different. But it's just your weight check, your health check, and talking about your well-being in general, because most times you probably feel okay, but there are times you really do feel low, and you may not want to talk about it, but if the GP can pick up on where you are or get a baseline of where you are, next time you come in, if you're not so chirpy, they can probably realise, okay, things aren't going quite as smoothly as they could.
So if people miss you this week, if they're not able to come to the different surgeries, we've got all of the list on our local events calendar, then where can they go to get some help or contact you?
I can be contacted via Facebook, and I've set up a new page, information for carers in the Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland areas, because what we found out is Rutland is not isolated. We do have people on the borders. Or they can email me directly, Jack Darl, JACDARL, 1960@gmail.com.
And also the different pharmacies, the late night pharmacies, they're getting involved, aren't they, with Carers Week?
Yeah, the Rutland Late Night Pharmacy in particular have shown a great deal of interest, and they also can do the health checks. As I say, it's just your blood pressure, your weight, and that sort of information. Appointments do need to be made. You can't just expect to go in and be seen, because, everybody's workloads are different, and you may have to wait a couple of weeks for these health checks. But as they're not an emergency, that's understandable. But yes, please go along, get your health sorted, get your health checks done, and make sure that you are fit to care for the person you're caring for.
Rutland Radio.
So I'm George, and I'm the technical trainer for Red Paddlecare in the UK.
Now, paddleboarding, a few years ago, people might not have known that much about it, but it's just seemed to have exploded everywhere. Everyone wants to have a go at stand-up paddleboarding.
So we made sort of one of the first inflatable boards sort of 10 years ago, and paddleboarding then was pretty new to everyone. No one really knew what paddleboarding was. And when we go into the shops and show people sort of the first sort of inflatable board, essentially, people were wondering what we're doing, why it wasn't hard, why it was inflatable, and didn't really get the concept. So since then we've really pushed the sport. It's done loads of sort of mass participation events to try and get people hooked, and people have sort of got it, because now sort of sports like windsurfing are really sort of technical based sports, and people haven't really got the time and sort of commitment to put into sports like this. So paddleboarding's really sort of experience driven, and the fact you can pack it away into a bag like the inflatable boards we do now, you can just sort of stick it in your car, pump it up if you're away somewhere nice for the weekend, and just go and have a bit of an explore and a bit of a paddle. And I think that's what people are really getting into about it. And the fact is as well, you can take the whole family, so the kids can be jumping over the boards, you can have mum and dad paddling it as well, so it's sort of really good experience driven sport.
It's a sport for everyone, because I've seen people paddling as fast as they can across Rutland water. It looks like they're going to the other side, so that looks quite competitive.
Yeah.
And then you've got people just having relaxation.
Yeah, I mean, you can do pretty much anything. We've got 4-person dragon racing boards, and we've done sort of world championship events which everyone can enter, and we've got one in Lake Fischal in Austria this year. So we just try and encourage everyone to get out as a bit of fun, nothing too serious. You can jump on the board, 4 of you can have a good laugh, paddle down. We do yoga specific boards where people can sort of do a bit of yoga, have a nice chill out on the water. Family boards, touring boards, which is our Voyager range, where you can go out, go camping, go exploring in different places. Surf shapes, so you can do sort of so much with paddleboarding. It's not like one thing, you can do sort of whole different varieties of things with your paddleboard.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Hello.
You'll never guess what.
Oh, Rob.
From the 33 entrants that we've had this week, drawn at random, was you.
It's my dad who's won, really.
Yes, well, indeed.
Oh, my goodness. This is just wonderful.
It is, absolutely. And a brewery tour for 2 at the Grain Store in Oakham, pair of tickets to Tolthorpe, free family cycle hire from Rutland Cycling, afternoon tea for 2 at Barnsdale Lodge, £30 to spend at Gates Garden Centre, is all your dad's. So tell us about your dad.
My dad is 83. He is absolutely wonderful. Mum's not been very well lately, and he is just always there for her. He's always there for all the family. He's a 1 in a million. He really is.
Rutland Radio.
It's the Battle Proms winning weekend from Rutland Radio. 7th of July, the amazing night will be at Burley House, Stamford. And I asked you, how many venues in total Battle Proms actually comes to? Was it A3, B4 or C5? Well done to everyone who got it right. Catherine from Stamford, Steve in Stamford, and also Rona in Stamford, who wins the tickets. Morning, Rona.
Good morning.
How many venues then in total?
5.
And you've not been to Battle Proms before?
No, never.
Well, it is the most amazing night, from proms to the Grey Spitfire to the Red Devils parachute display team to the cavalry. You get a lot of value for your tickets, which you've just won here on Rutland Radio.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks, Rob.
And you're off to a tea dance tomorrow.
Yes.
Whereabouts is that?
In Stamford at the Arts Centre.
Oh, lovely. Sort of Sunday afternoon.
It is, yes.
Quite a regular thing.
I think she does one every so many months.
Excellent.
Yeah.
A lovely way to spend a Sunday afternoon.
It is.
Right. We'll have a lovely time on Saturday the 7th of July at Battle Proms as well.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.